So I'm put on birth control at 14. I don't get off birth control or start to get off of it until about 24 to 25 years old. That was the time that I was getting married. We waited a couple years before we really started trying. So we started trying when I was around 28. And then for 2 years until I was 30, couldn't conceive. So I never had any scarcity with pregnancies. I never had any false pregnancies, no false alarms. Like my period was always like on time and whatever. So it was never a thing that I experienced. Well, so I went to the doctor after 2 years of trying without success, which you're supposed to do after a month, I believe, or excuse me, after a year, I believe. And so then I went to this new doctor that I hadn't seen. It was a woman, and she said, "Can you tell me your history with periods?" So I told her my history with periods, and she stopped and she like took a deep breath and she goes, "Have you ever heard of endometriosis?" And I said, "Actually, I recently did hear about it because a person I know in the wedding industry that I work in at the time, she too shared that she was just diagnosed and it sounds awful." And she was like, "Yes, it is awful, and you have like all the symptoms." So then she started talking to me about surgery. So I went back and I talked to my friend about it, and she was like, "You really need to go see a endometriosis specialist, a deep excision specialist." So I'm so glad that like I had that, and that the only reason that I knew that I had her as a resource to go to was because she shared her story. And so that's why I'm so passionate about sharing mine so that I can help other people, right? Anyways, so I went to a deep excision specialist. 3 months later, I ended up having surgery and was diagnosed with stage 3 endometriosis. I lost my left ovary and my right and my appendix, and my I had a huge endometrioma that burst during the surgery. And so then I went and I started healing from surgery and did so. I had surgery October of 2018, and July of 2019 I got pregnant for the first time ever in my life. But then at 10 weeks I found out that I miscarried at about 8 weeks. And so that was not even a full year after my deep excision surgery. And that ended up taking a whole month, that whole process. I had to miscarry naturally at home, and then not everything got removed. So I ended up having to have a D&C. So I was bleeding for 6 weeks straight because of that whole thing. And then it really messed me up when I was already trying to heal. So then, fast forward to February of 2020, I found out I was pregnant and I gave birth via C-section to my beautiful daughter in November of 2020.